Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Pratap Singh. Zerodha co-founder Nikhil Kamath has questioned the value of traditional higher education, especially MBA programs, saying that colleges are dead. He said formal education is being rapidly outpaced by open and digital learning platforms. Kamath said artificial intelligence has made self-learning easier than ever. He also questioned the practicality of investing time and money in an MBA degree. The comment, widely circulated on social media, has not been received well by many. Amongst those responding is 27-year-old Anahis Patel, an MBA candidate at the NYU Stern School of Business. Patel, who previously worked with Vogue India, posted a video on Instagram addressing Kamath's statement head-on. In the video, she said how someone with that social cachet and influence can trash the pursuit of higher education in a country like India is beyond me. Patel also points out that certain industries simply cannot be accessed without an MBA. Let's listen in to both statements.
In my personal opinion, colleges are dead. If you're 25 and going to an MBA college today, you must be some kind of idiot, if you ask me. And I think 5 years from now, this trend will be exaggerated, expedited.
Nikhil, the world isn't built on exceptions. For every outlier who made it without a degree, there are thousands whose careers jumped because of one. Not everyone wants to be a hustler, entrepreneur, bro. Some of us want structure, intellectual strengthening, and the ability to build a career with strategic depth and not just by.
In fact, netizens have slammed the 39-year-old billionaire for his comment, with some pointing out he's not an expert on education but is only the founder of a stockbroking platform. Another accused Kamath of making these remarks while coming from a position of privilege himself. Joining us to discuss this is Dinesh Jotwani, Supreme Court advocate. We also have Dr. Jaideep Bhattacharya, President CDEPR, live with us. Pratyush Singh, second-year MBA student of IIM Bodh Gaya, joins us live. Dhruv Sharma is also with us. He's pursuing an MBA from the IMT Ghaziabad. Let me come to both the students first before I get in the others. What did you make of this statement, Pratyush, made by Nikhil Kamath, given the fact that you yourself are pursuing an MBA currently?
Sure, yeah. So definitely, if you're talking about being outlier, and if everyone states not being an outlier, then what's the surprising part about being the outlier? So definitely the critical path and the strategic path which MBA gives us to actually pivot our career, that is exceptional. And you don't find any modern education method or online method which actually gives you a peer-to-peer connection. You cannot sip a cup of coffee and discuss about how the life was being an architect before coming to an MBA. So we have a lot of examples. We have a lot of people who have actually chosen this particular path and still rank as an outlier, be it entrepreneurship, be it corporate world, or be it their own life. So I don't think so that I'm a fan of what they have built, Kamath Brothers. But calling people stupid just for being pursuant of an MBA degree, that's not actually what is acceptable. And maybe something of this sort is where we need more comprehension and understand what actually the lives are at such MBA institutes. For example, we at IIM Bodh Gaya actually practice mindfulness as a management tool and not just about being into textbooks. So such qualities can only be judged and inculcated into a person when he or she is associated with an organization. So yeah, this is what I could say about that.
Okay, let me in fact ask you, Dhruv Sharma, now your perspective on what you made of Nikhil Kamath coming out and trashing MBA degrees and those pursuing them, also calling colleges dead.
A very good evening, sir. First of all, I very respectfully disagree with the idea that anyone above 25 pursuing an MBA is an idiot, because such a statement overlooks the reality and of the professional growth happens. Professional growth happens at different time for different age group. And like in fact, the most globally recognized college like Harvard, INSEAD, all of them, the above average, the age is 27. There are industry leaders like Tim Cook who have completed their MBA at 27, 28. And I believe that education is not a sign of weakness or confusion. It is a sign of ambition, self-awareness, and the courage to involve. And it should not be capped.
Okay, let me take that to you, Dinesh Jotwani. This of course is something that has become quite a debate, particularly on social media. Many have reacted pretty strongly to what this founder of Zerodha has come out and said, what is your take? Are MBA degrees useful, useless? What is your take and your sense?
Well, two things. Of course, on usefulness of MBA, it is no doubt still very, very useful. You would know the statistics that talks about India is the second largest nation that produces MBA, around 23 to 24 lakhs MBAs that India has right now. But I'll try to answer this question from legal perspective. The language that is used by Nikhil, that you must be an idiot or you must be stupid to do this MBA course right now. From legal perspective, so there may be legal implications from civil law, from criminal law perspective, and also violation of IT Act somehow. I can go into details of that, but there may be somebody who feels really hurt about it. He's doing MBA, he loses a job because of that. Importance of MBA, of course, you cannot deny, especially in a country like India, where there is a tremendous amount of talent. There's a tremendous amount of human resources that are there. So you cannot deny the importance of an MBA, human resources, you can say, MBA finance, if you go into it, MBA sales and marketing. Today, the Indian human resources, the Indian MBAs are actually doing a sales in different countries, including US and Europe, sitting here from India. So do you think that there is a degree at graduation level that will give them that exposure in sales and marketing? Having said that, I'll just try to focus on the legal perspective here, is that tomorrow Nikhil may come and say, look, this is true. I mean, it's a age of an AI where a lot of things are done by artificial intelligence and MBA doesn't have a role right now. You don't need a manager now. A manager's job can be done by artificial intelligence, so you must be an idiot to do an MBA. So he may use these kind of languages. So probably for him, he'll say, truth is my defense. If the matter goes to the court tomorrow, whether in a civil defamation is by way of torts. In criminal defamation, there is 356 Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So if people actually decide to, file a case based on a defamation or even IT Act, if you see Section 66 and 67 of Information Technology Act 2000, if people decide to file, Nikhil may come out with, I'm trying to be a devil's advocate at this point of time.
Yes.
And saying, what will Nikhil say ultimately in the court if the matter goes to the court? It's a very sensitive line that he has said. We all know he said it on social media.
Yes.
There lakhs of people may be viewing it. So perhaps.
Okay. Dr. Jenzi Bhattacharya, what's your take? On this debate over MBA degrees, college education, is this, unfortunate if someone from a privileged background, position of privilege, make such sweeping statements? Is it being over generalistic? What is your sense?
Yeah, I think, Nikhil Kamath is known for making such misstatements, and he shoots from the hip. So he hasn't thought through, and I'm not entirely sure whether he really meant it or not. But let's just look into some of the statements he had made earlier. He had said that it's only stupid people who buy houses. You should be renting houses. Very recently has gone ahead and bought his own house. So he has changed what he said. He had also said, he had also played against Anand Vishwanathan in chess.com. And it turned out that he was using support engines to actually defeat Vishwanathan Anand, and he never owned it up till much later. So he has been known to have these brash practices of not thinking through what he's saying. Now, from a person who has actually been teaching MBA at IIT Delhi, and I've been an adjunct professor at IIT Delhi. I've also done my MBA from IIM Calcutta. I've also been an entrepreneur. So it's not that because I did an MBA, I did not become an entrepreneur. It is important to understand the context. An MBA prepares you to run large corporations. It prepares you to run businesses. It does not lead to you becoming an entrepreneur. That's a choice. That's a very different track. But look at who's running Google. Sundar Pichai is an MBA. Look at who's running Microsoft. Satya Nadella is an MBA. Without having the rigorous training of an MBA, you cannot run large complex organizations where you got millions of shareholders putting their money in. If it's pointless to pursue an MBA, then there are 1.4 billion people in this country who do not have an MBA. So are they becoming entrepreneurs and becoming billionaires? Well, no. So, so what is the what is the path on which Kamath himself went, and how did he become an entrepreneur? Without an MBA, he started his life as a call center person with 8,000 rupees per month as salary. It was his hustling ability, and hats off to that he got into the startup that he did. But even for that startup, if you look at his family background, he has a mother who is an accomplished entrepreneur, and therefore he learned hustling and entrepreneurship from his mother. His father is from the banking industry, so he understands how to manage finance and how to raise capital and how to run businesses. Not everybody is as fortunate. So if my parents are not entrepreneurs and they're not bankers, am I condemned to never ever become an entrepreneur? Or can I learn some business from some business school, or perhaps do an MBA and be on the track to become an entrepreneur? So the context is important. He shot him from the hip without thinking through. And for the bulk of the students, I would really encourage them to put education at a priority. It's extremely important. Even if you're becoming an entrepreneur, it's important to have education. You look at the Ambani family. Dhirubhai Ambani hardly had any education, but he ensured that his son, both Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani, are highly educated. If you look at the Birlas, they made sure that their family, generations after generations, are highly educated. Kumaramangalam Birla is an accomplished chartered accountant before he took the reins of the Aditya Birla company. So it's very important to have education to be able to really create global scale organizations. The few people who did not have education or were college dropouts because they hit upon an idea very early in their life are really outliers. It's a very dangerous path to go down in that way. If you already have an idea, then good for you. But for the most of the people who are listening to this broadcast, I would really advise them to pursue their education to the limit possible, and therefore become a fully accomplished human being. Because every education is not just to increase income levels; it's also to become a more evolved human. And in that process, you also end up getting better jobs and higher compensations.
Okay. Let me, in fact, quickly also get in Pratyush Singh back again. Pratyush, now, it's quite interesting how obviously Nikhil Kamath is trying to reflect what the young generation, what is good for the young generation. But the young generation, Gen Z, overwhelmingly rejecting Nikhil Kamath's outlook and Nikhil Kamath's perspective on MBAs and college education.
Absolutely, yes, because being a second year student at MBA, so we definitely know the importance of what peer-to-peer learning is. And traditional methods also provides us a certain safety level and security level, because we know that the traditional methods are strategically built. And if we follow that path, so it's not about just being in the corporate, it's also about being how well we do in our life. There's this word which we get to know a lot about is ethicality. And if we need to be ethical, we need to go around the textbooks. We need to discuss what is being done in the world, in the actual world. And for that matter, a lot of people who are actually above 25, who are our batchmates, they come with prior work experience as well. So they have practicality as a greater tool with them. And if you have learned from the outer world itself, so these textbooks can definitely help as a supportive material for you. The classroom discussions, all the time spent with the lecturers in the lecture room. So these definitely helps as a tools. So, young generation is now aware about how traditional methods are not absolutely vague, and the online modes and the online teaching platforms cannot actually provide you what peer-to-peer learning can.
Okay, let me in fact quickly also ask you the same question, Dhruv Sharma, because you're also pursuing your MBA right now. You must be chatting with your batchmates, your seniors, your juniors in B school. What is their opinion on the relevance of MBAs? And are most of you all doing it because it's essential, or because you will actually gain a lot through your college education?
See, definitely we gain a lot of things from our college education, the ground reality, the things we learn. Like I want to highlight the fact that like mostly an MBA teaches leadership. It teaches skills like empathy, negotiation, strategic thinking, corporate governance, and these things are formalized in our MBA programs. So like there are some billionaires that often learn these things late, and these mistakes cost them millions. Also, I would like to emphasize on a particular point on career pivoting. I know, in fact, many people who used to be majors in army, who used to be in hospitality sector, and like later they wanted to shift their career. By 25, most people understand their strengths, gets to know what they want to do and what they don't want to do. They want to shift their careers from engineering to consultancy. And most importantly, 90% of the major companies for senior leadership roles, they require an MBA. So I think that doing an MBA is very important for a person's, maturity and how perspective shifts. The age, the how it's think, how people think. The real world MBA is very important.
Yes. Dinesh Otwani, also, is it a bit premature for individuals like Nikhil Kamath to, completely, diss college education? He's obviously a social media influencer as well. Is this a wrong kind of influence to give, to actually counsel students against pursuing college education?
Yes, 100%. I think that he's being a person who people looks up to. He should be very careful with such statements, because Dr. Jenzi, he was saying that the percentage rate, that there are only a few outliers, exceptions.
Yes, yes. Why don't we allow Dinesh Otwani also to take that? Dinesh Otwani.
Yeah, I mean, he's an influencer with millions of followers. I would suggest that whatever he says which is of importance, people are going to listen to that, and his advice of not doing an MBA or MBA is a waste should be viewed very, very sensitively and carefully by others. He should avoid, Nikhil should avoid these kind of statements that he's making, because it not only hurts the people who are doing MBA or pursuing higher education, but it is also perhaps it's going to be kind of a loss for them, monetary loss for them, because there may be an employer who will say, no, let me get engineers onto this kind of a work because this is engineering based. MBAs itself, as was told by an earlier speaker here, is a very important, it's a leadership role. And it's a leadership role in respect of any kind of domain knowledge. You may be an MBA handling a cybersecurity matter or a finance matter or a human resource matter. Education, higher education, never goes waste, as they say. So if you are 25 and 27 years old and you are pursuing an MBA, and you get influenced by such a kind of a statement, I would advise that this may create a little sensation in the academic circles. Finally, who decides whether a course should be there or not decide the course not to be there? It depends on the demand and supply, whether people are getting job or not. It depends on the UGC to have this kind of a course. The fact is that more and more MBA institutions are, being established in India. Proves that this kind of a course is required. There is a requirement in the market. There is a requirement in the industry. And because you may be a particular engineer specializing in particular domain, but at the end of the day, somebody needs to take a leadership role in an organization. So I would advise, maybe there are no legal repercussions immediately, but Nikhil Kamath to be careful, because he is an influencer at the end
Dr.
of the day.
Bhattacharya, also, on the flip side though, is it time to relook at education in the country, or do you believe that's something that is not needed? Is there a need to look at the broader point that Nikhil Kamath is making, if you believe that he actually didn't mean what he said because he's made misstatements in the past too, do you believe there is a need to look at the wider questions on education that he's raising or not?
No, absolutely. We are all going through a change, and therefore education needs to be relooked at. There are technologies and changes which are ripping apart the way we live, the way we work, the way we get educated, and therefore, of course, we need to look at how education is being provided, and which is why the government has adopted the new education policy. And perhaps that too needs to be relooked every couple of years because we are changing. And hence, perhaps that's what he was trying to communicate, that we need to change the way we educate and what we educate. But that's the job of the educators and those who are specialists in pedagogical structuring, and they should be looking into it. Perhaps it was a nudge from Nikhil Kamath that let's look into what it's doing. But there are two aspects he said. One was that it's too old to study. He said, 27-year-old or 25-year-old should not be doing that. I have had PhD students who started at the age of 58 and finished at the age of 62. So I don't see, people that one should put a bar on when one should get educated. Satya Nadella took 4 years or 5 years to finish his MBA because he was doing it part-time while he was working. So people have different circumstances. They do things differently as per their requirements. And hence, we should not be talking about such, age bars being put into place. The second being that X course or Y course is not needed. I mean, by the same stretch of logic, we don't need engineers, AI can do it. We don't need PhDs, AI can do it. They can do the research and so on and so forth. So I think we should not be singling out any particular course per se. Let the society decide, and especially when it comes from somebody as influential as Nikhil Kamath, he should be a little careful. But I think, as you rightly said, he was probably pointing at the fact that there needs to be change, and that point is well taken.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion.